Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Um, Today we're diving into a story that's really going to stay with you guys. It's heartbreaking, but also incredibly important, especially right now.
Yeah, it's one of those stories that just grabs you.
So picture this. You're a parent, and you get hit with every parent's worst nightmare.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Your child is diagnosed with a rare, life-threatening disease.
Oh, man.
And then, on top of that, imagine a political battle over healthcare is raging all around you.
Oh, wow.
And that battle could directly impact your child's chances of survival.
Yeah, that's adding insult to injury.
That's the reality for Allison Quinn, and she tells her family story, and this is a really powerful article from the Daily Beast. We're going to link to that in the show notes.
And it really gets you thinking about how healthcare policy actually impacts real people you know.
Yeah, it goes way beyond just like a theoretical debate. This is about real lives hanging in the balance. Okay, so Allison's 8-year-old son, Aedrik, is at the center of this story. And she does an amazing job of painting this really vivid picture of him in the article. Like, you get a sense of his personality right away.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like he's a pretty cool kid.
He loves jujitsu, hanging out at the playground, just being a kid.
Oh, I love that.
She even talks about how he's starting to think about bigger concepts like karma.
Ah, that's adorable.
And she even includes all these beautiful photos of him, and you can practically see his personality shining through in every single one.
Those are always the best. Makes the story all the more powerful, you know, when you can put a face to a name.
Absolutely. But then she drops this bombshell. Aedrik is diagnosed with ALD.
ALD.
Yeah, it stands for adrenoleukodystrophy. It's a genetic disorder that attacks the nervous system.
Okay, so we're talking about a pretty serious condition here.
Extremely serious. It's incredibly rare. Affects about 1 in 17,000 boys.
Wow. And what happens if it's not caught early?
So that's the thing about ALD. It's a race against time. If it isn't detected early, it can lead to severe neurological damage.
That's terrifying.
And that's why newborn screening programs are so crucial. Early detection can dramatically change treatment options and outcomes.
I was just reading about that. There's uneven access to these programs across the country.
That's right. And that adds another layer of complexity to this already difficult situation.
Absolutely.
So Quinn talks about this emotional whiplash of receiving Aedrik's diagnosis. One minute you're dealing with the everyday joys and challenges of parenting, and the next you're thrust into a fight for your child's life.
Wow, I bet that's like a punch to the gut.
It's hard to even wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to understand this complex medical diagnosis, you're dealing with the emotional fallout, and then there's the massive question of what happens next.
Exactly. So what does happen next? I mean, is there any hope for Aedrik?
Well, there is a potential lifeline for Aedrik, a stem cell transplant.
Stem cell transplant. Okay. So walk us through that. What exactly does that involve?
Think of it like this. A stem cell transplant essentially replaces the damaged cells in Aedrik's bone marrow with healthy ones.
I see. So it's like a reboot for his immune system?
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's a complex procedure, and it does come with its own set of risks.
Sure, of course. There's always a risk with any major medical procedure.
But for kids like Aedrik, it offers the best chance of stopping the progression of ALD.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's stopping them from doing the transplant right away?
Well, that's where the financial anxieties come in.
Oh, right.
Quinn is brutally honest in the article about the mounting medical bills.
Yeah, medical bills can be scary.
And the looming question of whether their insurance will actually cover such a major procedure.
It's like a whole other battle on top of a medical one.
This is a stark reminder that for many families, healthcare is not just about access, it's also about affordability. And this is where the political landscape enters the picture. Quinn explicitly connects her son's situation to the heated debate over the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
Right. Okay.
From what I understand, the ACA has been a lifeline for millions of Americans, especially those dealing with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, it prevents insurance companies from denying coverage or imposing lifetime caps on benefits just because of someone's health status.
You got it. And if we connect this back to Aedrik's story, any rollback or repeal of the ACA could have devastating consequences.
Absolutely. For families like Aedrik's, I mean, talk about adding stress to an already impossible situation.
Imagine facing a life or death situation and then having the rug pulled out from under you because of policy changes.
Just heartbreaking.
It doesn't get much more real than that.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
So we've got this little boy, Aedrik, battling this rare disease, his family grappling with the medical and financial burdens, and this whole political battle raging in the background.
It's like a perfect storm.
It really is. And it's a lot to process, for sure. And actually, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The article goes on to explore how the family navigates this uncertainty, the emotional and logistical challenges they face,
Wow.
and how Allison tries to make sense of it all, even using this concept of karma to explain things to Aedrik. We'll dive into all of that in part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait. You know, one thing that really struck me was how Allison writes about the emotional toll of just living in this gray zone.
Yeah.
Like they're dealing with this urgent medical crisis with Aedrik, but then there's this constant weight of uncertainty about the future of healthcare policy.
Yeah.
It's like a double whammy.
It's that feeling of what if just hanging over their heads, right?
Right.
What if the ACA is repealed?
Right.
What if they can't afford the transplants? What if time runs out?
Exactly. It's got to be incredibly heavy.
And it's not just the financial aspect either. Like, imagine the psychological burden of knowing your child's life could literally depend on the outcome of a political battle
Right.
that you have absolutely no control over.
It would make you feel totally helpless.
Quinn writes about trying to maintain a sense of normalcy for Aedrik,
Oh, yeah.
while also preparing for the worst. She includes these photos of him at a haunted house for Halloween, at the playground, just, trying to be a kid.
It's so important.
It's a real testament to their resilience as a family,
It is.
finding those moments of joy in the face of such adversity.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about how important support systems are during times like these.
Yeah.
Family, friends, advocacy groups, having those people to lean on can make all the difference.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Quinn finds a way to connect all of this back to Aedrik's innocent questions about karma.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She tells this story about how she initially explained karma to him. That classic, what goes around comes around.
Right. To encourage good behavior.
Exactly, like a lot of parents do. But
Yeah.
then she has this moment of honesty where she admits to Aedrik that karma isn't actually real, that sometimes bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And it's not because they did anything wrong.
It's such a poignant moment in the article.
And it becomes this metaphor for their whole situation, right?
Yeah.
This idea that life isn't always fair, that there are forces beyond our control that can impact our lives in really profound ways.
Absolutely.
And she doesn't shy away from connecting this to the political landscape,
Yeah.
specifically calling out President Trump and his policies.
It's a bold statement for sure.
It is.
And while we're not here to delve into partisan politics, it's clear that Quinn sees this direct link between the actions of those in power and the potential consequences for vulnerable populations.
Right, like her son.
Exactly.
So we're left with this incredibly powerful image. A mother fiercely advocating for her son, navigating this complex web of medical, financial, and political challenges.
Yeah.
It's a story that really stays with you.
It does.
And it raises some really crucial questions.
Like what?
What are our responsibilities as a society to ensure that everyone has a fighting chance, regardless of their medical condition?
Right.
What does it actually mean to prioritize healthcare as a right, not a privilege?
These are huge questions, and there are no easy answers.
No. But Quinn's story forces us to confront them head on.
It does.
It's a call to action. Reminder that these aren't just abstract policy debates happening in some far-off place. They have real-world consequences, sometimes life or death consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us to an even bigger question. What happens when a system designed to protect the vulnerable fails? We'll explore that and more in the final part of this deep dive. It's almost like Quinn is issuing a challenge to all of us, the listeners.
Ooh, interesting.
Like she's putting us right in her shoes.
Okay, yeah.
If we were staring down this impossible situation, what would we do?
Yeah.
How would we navigate this maze of medical bills and, the financial stuff, and then the political roadblocks too?
Right, all of it. It's a lot.
It really is.
Right.
And it kind of pushes us beyond just individual actions,
I see what you're saying.
It makes us examine our values as a society. What kind of world do we actually want to live in?
Yeah, it's a big question.
One where access to life-saving care is a total game of chance, dictated by wealth or political maneuvering.
Why shouldn't it be like that?
Or one where everyone has a real shot at a healthy life, no matter their circumstances.
Those are the stakes.
They really are.
Yeah.
And the timing of this article, just days before a major election, makes it all the more, resonant.
Oh, for sure.
Healthcare's front and center in this political debate, and Quinn's story is just this gut-wrenching reminder that these aren't just talking points for politicians,
Right, exactly.
These decisions have real-world consequences,
Yeah.
with real families caught in the crosshairs.
It's so easy to forget that.
It is. And it underscores that behind every policy decision, every statistic thrown around in a debate, there are real people, real families whose lives literally hang in the balance.
It's a powerful stuff.
It is. As we wrap up this deep dive, I keep coming back to this idea of karma that Quinn brings up.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not about some cosmic scorecard, but about the choices we make, both individually and collectively, choices that shape our world and have a ripple effect on the lives of others.
That's deep, man.
It is. It brings us full circle in a way.
I see that.
We started with the simple question of karma,
Right.
and now has become this framework for understanding our role in creating a more just and equitable society.
That's a great takeaway.
It is. It's a call to action, an invitation to really think critically about the issues at stake, to have those tough conversations, and to make choices that reflect our values. Because ultimately, the future of healthcare rests in our hands. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment with your thoughts. We love hearing from you guys. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.